Ohio State's cornerbacks are playing pretty well through 2 games. Haven't faced any kind of a challenge like what they're going to see against Western Kentucky on Saturday. But obviously a good sign early on. Denzel Burke, Jordan Hancock, Davis Igbenogson leading that group. You got a deep safety group. Lathan Ransom doesn't come off the field. Sonny Styles doing his thing in the nickel. A bunch of guys in the mix at free safety right now. Josh Proctor sounds like he will be healthy for Saturday. We'll see if he starts. Right now, who is Ohio State's most important defensive back as we go into week 3 of the season?
Sonny Styles, because look at the schedule that Ohio State has to play. You have to play Western Kentucky. That is a team that spreads the field on you and spreads the ball around. Notre Dame, does any wide receiver for Notre Dame really strike fear into you? Not really. Then all of a sudden you're in October. So I think you can kind of convince yourselves that the cornerbacks have a little bit of time. The safety, and specifically Styles, is where I think you're going to really start to see kind of elevating this defense. Because I think, Nathan, you mentioned on the podcast, like when you use Sonny in different ways, when you are moving him around the defense, that is what can elevate this defense. When you move him into the slot in certain situations, when you put him in the middle of the field, when you put him on the back end, when you do all of those things, it creates different looks for offenses. And not only that, you are dictating the terms of which the game has to be played. If you are using a guy like that who can do a bunch of different things, if you're moving him around, offenses have to prepare for that guy, and you're putting them on their heels a little bit. So yeah, if you can turn that guy into a weapon, if you can turn that guy into something that opposing offenses have to prepare for, not only are you kind of just getting this great player that with all these physical tools, you are changing what the offense has to do. And I think that is really important, especially as you get into Big Ten play. So yeah, I'm going to say Sonny right now, especially over any of the corners.
I'm very curious if he ends up moving around more over the course of a year than what they're doing with him right now. Right now, he comes off the field sometimes, but I wonder if there's a point of the season where he needs to stay on the field. But I think he's growing towards that. I'm going to take Denzel Burke, and it's because he is 2 games in, small sample size, all that stuff. He's starting to look like the thing that Ohio State has so desperately missed since 2019, and that's like a true alpha at cornerback, a guy who wants that role, who kind of needs that role, who will talk as if he deserves that sort of identity, and then is now going out and backing it up. A year ago, he kind of had the talk, and then because he got hurt and other things were going on, like he just couldn't physically go out there and follow it up, and it was a problem, I think, for this defense for a good portion of the season. It didn't really get corrected, and he didn't start coming on again until late in the year. You started to see some of what he showed you a glimpse of as a freshman, and now the presence that he is bringing to the field, I think, trickles down through this whole secondary, maybe even through this whole defense. But the way that he plays with confidence and then goes out and backs it up, I think rubs off on everybody else in this back 7. Steven, would you like to jump on my bus with your pick of it's a reduced fare. It's a reduced fare Wednesday. If you'd like to get on the bus here,
I think Andrew, you picked the best defensive back in Sonny Styles. I agree. I think you picked the best corner, Nathan. I agree with that. But you asked most important, and I think it's Jordan Hancock. And I think it's because of everything you guys just said. Denzel Burke's locking up on the outside, and so now he'll get a chance to play some better teams going forward to see if he can continue to do that. Maybe even turn himself to a first-round pick. We'll see with that one. And Sonny Styles is just going to keep growing and being more awesome. I agree that there is a world that exists where Sonny does not come off the field. And I think the adjuster comes off the field, and he is now a high safety. Jordan Hancock as your nickel gives me so much Shaun Wade 2019 vibes. He was not the best corner, and which is why they put him on the inside. They had Jeff Okudah and Damon Arnett. One guy who was a legit first-rounder and another guy that the Las Vegas Raiders turned into a first-rounder. But the role Shaun Wade had on that team as the nickel slot corner was indescribable how important it was. And we found out just how important it was when he got kicked out of the game for a targeting call against Clemson. And that's what I see. As soon as I heard some of the ways that Tim Walton was describing why they put Jordan Hancock in that role, I sprinted over there to the other table to ask Jordan Hancock those same questions. And I said, "Are you a willing hitter?" He said, "Willing." More than willing. I think there are some things that they're going to be able to do with Jordan Hancock, especially in those third and long situations where right now You don't want Sonny Styles to be the guy covering, but if we get to the Penn State game and it's just Denzel Burke and Davison Igbenogson on the outside, and then Jordan Hancock's at nickel while you've got Sonny Styles and Lathan Ransom as your safeties in a very important play, I'm not going to be shocked, because I think they missed something last year, the way that they talked about Jordan Hancock and his play. And I think we're going to start seeing it as they play more teams who are more willing to throw the ball around.
Tim Walton used a phrase I'd never heard before in my life to describe Jordan Hancock. He said he puts his face in the fan because he'll go in there and take that contact. He's not scared of that contact, and I agree with you. I think that's an interesting description because Shaun Wade was huge for that 2019 defense, and if the same thing starts forming together, I think that's a huge position. But they're also getting it from Sonny Styles, so it's like you're getting 60 minutes of that out of two guys, and I think that is a smart way to approach it. More about this on Buckeye Talk when we do our game preview for Saturday against Western Kentucky. Don't miss that, and get the text 614-350-3315.